Oh, hi.
Oh, hey, I didn't see you there.
Yeah, wow. That water wasn't very deep, was it?
No,
It
we
was kind of
bumped our
shallow.
noggins.
Well, welcome to episode 3 of The Shallow End.
Welcome back, folks.
Um, episode 3.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's our third episode, but if we're following the
yeah. Okay.
naming convention that we've already
All
set
right.
up.
So, episode 0
Yeah.
was really episode 1.
Yes.
And then episode 2 was
Was in-
actually in 2 parts.
But
But it was episode 1.
This is a terrible system.
Well, yeah, it's a terrible system that we created.
Yes.
So as of now, we are officially designating this episode 3.
Okay.
And from here on out, we will count like normal human beings.
Or we'll try,
We'll try.
at the very least. Yeah.
But if the tech fails us, then we will have a 3.5 or
So
whatever.
be it. Yeah.
So this is episode 3.
Yes.
What's this episode about again?
Well, for our fans out there who've listened to episode 1,
0.
No, I'm actually talking about episode 1.
Yep, 1.
Part
Episode
2.
1 and
Episode 1, part 2. See, this is why I had to change it.
God,
It's so stupid. The last episode, part 2 of the last
there
episode.
you go.
We actually did a sneak peek reveal of what this episode is
I
about.
know. We did tell them, but most of them didn't listen to it.
Oh, that's a call out for all the people who won't be hearing it. Because
Right.
they are not listening.
Right.
So everybody that is, let's all laugh at them right now.
No.
Okay.
I don't want to laugh at my future fans.
Okay.
We've got to convert them.
We're leaving the door open a little bit.
Oh, there's another little... We've got to convert them, Rebecca.
Uh-oh. Why is converting them so on topic today, Dad?
Well, because this episode... Well, I'm not going to talk about that now. I'm going to first talk about all our future sponsors.
Oh. Well, we could go on for hours.
I just want to update everybody because we're so tech savvy right now. By the way, we just spent an hour trying to...
More than.
Yeah, I know. Trying to troubleshoot sexy new tech. That doesn't work, by the way.
Hey.
And you're listening. If you're listening to us on one speaker.
Nice and crisp.
We are right next to each other on a sofa. And that's great. I mean, we like that. Being next to each other is our preferred way of having conversations. But
true, that's true.
The tech not working is not preferred.
Less than ideal. Yeah.
But I also want to point out that The Shallow End is now listened to by literally tens of shallow friends.
Shallow friends. That's good.
So I came up with this idea that The Shallow End, our fans,
wow, we're already...
should we ever have any,
we're already
are going to be called Shallow Friends.
Okay, cool. Because they're not really our friends.
No, it's spelled F-R-E-N-Z.
Oh, for the youths.
Yeah. Because you know how hip I am.
You know how hip we both are.
Mm-hmm. We got so much hip.
Between the both of us.
You're the one with busted hips.
I know. Like a golden retriever.
All right. So, but we have to admit, this is a friends and family thing right now, and we appreciate all of you listening. Thank you so much.
Thank you. It makes our little hearts happy. It fills us with joy.
Yeah, and we really appreciate Maggie pumping up our listens by putting us on repeat. Keep on smashing that repeat button for us, Mags.
Here's a little peek behind the curtain. She actually did text us, yesterday?
Yeah.
She texted us yesterday, when is the next episode? I'm waiting eagerly. She's like our only actual fan.
I know. But also, another sneak peek, she will be our first official guest.
Yes.
Although I wouldn't call her a guest.
She is my darling little sister.
Right. And we're going to record that next week. So
lots of content coming, you guys.
Wow,
we're really pumping it out for you.
Also, we are so sophisticated. We're our little Zencaster friends have helped us put the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, and the Zencaster platform. So we're basically anywhere you want to put noises into your ear holes.
Yeah. Put it the worst way that we possibly could.
Why not? Why would you put it any better?
That's fair. Okay. At least we're consistent.
All right. So obviously between tech and attracting an audience, everything's already gone off the rails. So we might as well just go right into now the actual
possible
topic.
Wait, I thought you were going to talk about our sponsors.
Oh yeah, we do have a sponsor. Yeah, no, we talked about future sponsors.
Yeah,
but
don't you want to talk about that?
Yeah, we should talk about our
dream sponsors.
I'm not sure how much I can reveal because I think the lawyers are still working out the details.
Okay, this is an active case.
Yeah, but we hope to have a sponsor that we can talk about officially on the next podcast.
Ooh,
it's an unofficial sponsor right now.
Okay, cool.
Which is why I'm not going to give him free. I mean them free.
Whoever it may be, we don't know yet.
Yeah, whatever.
We do.
So let's go off the rails and talk about religion.
Yeah, this one's about religion.
This one's about religion. We don't really have a goal. We're not trying to convert anyone.
Well, I certainly am not.
or unconvert you. True. To your faithful listeners.
True.
We're just going to talk about religion and see what we can come up with.
We're going to chit chat.
Yeah. So what do you think about religion, Rebecca?
What do I think about it?
Yeah, just like in general. Hit it. Like go crazy.
I mean, it's fine. It's fine. Okay. I'm not like a religion hater. It's great for some people, and I respect that. Go crazy, go stupid. It's just not personally for me.
How were you raised?
How was I raised?
Give us a little context around that very cynical, very youthful perspective.
Oh, is it cynical? I don't think it's cynical. I think...
Bro, whatever you want. No. Believe it.
For my generation, I would say I'm the less cynical side of opinions on religion. Because I'm not like, religion is dumb and only harms people.
Okay.
Which some people believe.
We might be currently living in a household.
We might be currently living in a household with a few of them. How I was raised. Well, I was raised Catholic.
Were you?
Yeah, this
By
is
whom?
Your fault. You did this to me. Okay. I'm kidding. It was fine.
I didn't.
I mean, it was fine. You still are Catholic. Don't shake your head at me.
Let me talk about me.
Okay, sorry.
Let you talk about you.
Catholic, and for a lot of my childhood, homeschooled, which I feel like made the Catholicism just exponentially worse. Because I was
super special Catholicism.
Very echo chambery, I would say. Because also the other homeschool families that we interacted with were also very Catholic, like big Catholic families with biblical names for every one of their children, like that kind of Catholic.
But you came out of it with such a great wardrobe. You don't like denim skirts?
Oh my God.
All right.
Hair wraps every day.
All right. I don't need to say awful things.
But like I went through the whole thing. Like I was baptized. I had first communion. I was confirmed when I was 13. All of the things. Yeah.
Was that to you, in your experience of that, was that religion in your experience, or was it culture?
Yeah, that's a good question. Wow.
Oh, hey, I got
No. Okay. That's a good question, because I would say I never really did any of these things, went to any of these events, like thinking that I was actually communing with a God. Like I was never actually believing any of that stuff.
Okay.
Like confession for me wasn't telling God my sins and being forgiven by him. It was going and telling Father Jim, who I'd known my entire life, that I had lied to my parents and feeling very afraid of what he would say to me.
Okay, that's interesting. And did that help though? Did you feel?
No, it was awful.
It was awful. Okay.
It was horrible.
Okay. Okay, so that just tells me you were actually born to be a Protestant.
Yeah,
No, that's not what I mean.
I've been a non-believer from birth, literally. But you're
And where? No, I want to know
Oh.
where you are now in your current. So you are wrapping up the first part of your college career.
I hate that you said first part. I don't even want to think about that. Ew.
Why? I
don't
thought
know.
you were excited about it.
I'm excited about being
Okay, that's a
done
different
with school.
conversation.
I don't wanna
Talk
think
about religion right now.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I am finishing up college finally.
And how are you feeling about the role of, do you have any faith in a higher power?
Yes and no.
Okay.
I would say I have faith in a power, but I wouldn't call it a higher power.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah.
I like that nuance.
Thank you. Yeah, I've always been like, I don't believe in God like the Catholic God per se,
Okay.
or really any other structured religions gods that I've learned about. I've never been like, yeah, that resonates. Like, it's always just been like kind of fun stories to learn about rather than a reality that I believe.
Okay.
But also, and we're going to get a little hippy dippy here.
Do we want to get hippy dippy now, or do we want to just tease it for later?
You asked what my
You've answered my first question.
Okay, fair
do
enough.
we want to like maybe tease that hippy dippy part
we'll
for
tease
later?
Hippy dippy. But I will say it's hippy dippy combined with science because I am a woman of science. So yeah,
we'll tease that for later.
Tease that for later. So how about you, Dad?
Okay, Allie. I mean, Rebecca. Okay.
Because you were raised.
So my background,
Catholic, right?
I was not raised Catholic. But I grew up. So I grew up in the 70s and 80s, and I was a suburban kid, and grew up in a typical Protestant. I mean, typical in the sense of like divorced parents, but church was a part of every week. I went to youth group, all that kind of stuff. Pardon me. I was a smartass. I don't know.
When you say you were a smartass,
I am a smartass.
There you go.
Thank you. I protested against getting confirmed in the Lutheran Church.
I didn't know they had that.
Yep.
Okay.
There was a step of becoming basically an adult in the church that in roughly eighth grade. And I said, no, I don't want to do that. And the pastor who would visit every kid, it was kind of a cool thing. The pastor would visit every kid one-on-one in their home and say,
home?
Yeah. And say,
Wow.
do you have any questions before you get confirmed? Do you want to have a conversation? And I was like, heck yeah, I want to have a conversation. Let's talk. And the big hang up I had at that point was, Reverend man, you keep saying at the pulpit, like, Jesus is love and we need to love everyone and we need to accept everyone and blah, 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 blah. And then when you're teaching us as children and leading us into confirmation prep, you're telling us to make sure that our friends are all believers. And to not hang out with people who might be bad influences. And I'm like, how am I supposed to be like Jesus if I'm just around people like me?
Checkmate.
And it bugged me a lot, the inconsistency, the hypocrisy. Yeah. And by the way, I'm 51 now.
No,
I'm
not yet.
I'm 51 in a month. Almost exactly. The idea that hypocrisy wouldn't exist in any human endeavor is like some ideal that's unrealistic. Yeah. So anyway, that was me in eighth grade. It was a big problem. I don't actually remember, but I'm pretty sure I wound up actually getting confirmed in the Lutheran Church and not
being a rebel.
Yeah, I wasn't that strong of a rebel. But I went through high school, bunch of experiences that don't need to be shared right now. My next real step on the religious kind of experience journey was in college, where a high school friend encouraged me to go on a retreat, and it was a Catholic retreat. And I knew that this friend from high school that was at our college was Catholic. Knew her as a Catholic person back then, and I went on this Catholic retreat, and I was very conflicted at the end of that retreat, because all I knew was I felt like I experienced something real that I had not experienced in any of my other experiences at churches. And so that was worth exploring to me. Okay, so there was a little bit of a break there, and I know I was talking about not getting confirmed or not getting confirmed, and I did wind up getting confirmed.
You just said the same thing twice, but yeah.
Yeah. Oh, no, I was talking about college.
Oh,
the
yeah.
retreat.
The retreat.
So the retreat experience was one where I felt like there was something there that I had never experienced before. But I didn't it wasn't like a sudden conversion experience. It was a slow burn. And over the course of time, I wound up becoming, I wound up getting confirmed in the Catholic Church. And my experience over the next, whatever, now 30 some years, has been in the Catholic Church, which comes with a bunch of experiences that, I don't know. There's a lot of detail there that is and is not all that interesting, but some of it is, it's very personal, and some of it is frustrating, but I'm still Catholic.
Yeah.
The bottom line is I'm still Catholic.
Still Catholic.
And I think that the easiest way to describe me is Catholic light.
Really? You would call yourself Catholic light. Why do you say that?
Because at a fundamental level, I believe that the Catholic Church is the fullest. This is going to sound very trite and rote, but the fullest repository of the Christian faith.
Okay.
So if you're going to be Christian, you might as well be Catholic.
Might as well be Catholic.
And I get to that with a lot of consideration, and I'm somebody who really values and dives into history, and I love the history of the church. I love I love ancient cultures. I'm not an expert in any of it. This is the fucking shallow end. I don't get deep into any of it, but I don't have a degree in any of it. But, I subscribe to Archaeology Magazine.
Right.
That's how big of a nerd I am.
Loser.
But I love the consistency and the intellectual strength of a lot of Catholic positions. And I'm still an advocate for the Catholic Church, even though I am very cognizant of the fact that anything that's been around for 2,000 years is going to have humans and human influence.
And humans, as we know, are
suck.
fallible.
We suck. Which also the Catholic Church would agree with.
Yes, would agree with. I think the Catholic Church, maybe at its core, would agree with. But the problem, you and I agree on this, the problem with religion is that to be a religion, there have to be people involved.
Mm-hmm.
And people are dumb
Yeah.
and will claim to be so. This is one of my big problems with when I disagree with Catholic people, it's usually because what they're saying is not lining up with what the Catholic faith actually preaches. And I'm like, you're you say that you're Catholic, but what you're telling me that you believe in is not Catholic. Like,
Right.
you're that's why it pisses me off a little bit.
Right. No, and that's one of the things that when you really dig deep in a lot of these kinds of topics, it's like you can decide to believe in this. Like the idea it's an act of faith. Like
Yeah.
your faith is, I believe in the big thing, and then I have to go through an act of like a bunch of rational decisions about the consequences in my life,
Yeah.
about what that means to me. And I think that a lot of people believe in something that, to like my opinion, is what they believe in isn't accurate.
Yeah.
I'm sure that my version is not accurate either.
Well,
Because
I'm sure nobody's
right.
version is accurate.
If you believe in a higher power, it means you believe in something that is so much bigger than you that it's a real tough thing to try to understand it.
Yeah.
So we're all just bumping around in the dark,
Doing our
trying to
best.
figure it out.
Yeah. Okay, you said something earlier that I would love to ask you more about. You said that you think Catholicism is like, what do you say? Like
The fullest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why do you think that?
So,
because to the best of my knowledge, the biggest difference between Catholicism and general Christianity is, and I might be wrong, Mary.
no, I don't believe that Mary is it, because I think that certain Protestant versions of Christianity have varying degrees of respect for Mary, and some don't. Like,
Yeah.
But I think the biggest difference is the underlying understanding of apostolic succession, like the idea that the church was established and that
Christians don't believe that?
Yeah, no, they don't.
I never knew that.
Well, they believe that Jesus established his church.
Yeah.
The Catholic version of establishing that church and having authority on earth over the church is where it's a big break.
With the whole pope and everything.
Like Peter as the first pope. That's
okay. So the Catholic Church believes that they are the descendant church of the original
unbroken
church
chain
line
of holders of the keys.
I see.
Wait, do we know from that moment?
Do we know who the second pope was? Like, who? Did Peter...
historically, we do know. Yeah,
who did
I don't
Peter
know
pass
that.
It on to?
I said, we're
shallow end. Back it out.
Stop it.
We don't have our arm floaties on.
But yeah, arm floaties for sure. As a matter of fact, someone should throw me a ring right now. But I will say this: when I was in college and I was going through this experience of like, oh my gosh, I had this deep sense of something, experience of something real. Mm-hmm. I spent a lot of time thinking about it, and I read a lot.
Yeah,
like I didn't get a degree in religion or anything like that, but one of the things I read, like St. Augustine, who's a father of the Catholic Church, is a very early bishop in Alexandria, and he wrote this incredible, it's called Confessions. It's this incredible public confessional of his conversion to the faith and his struggle with the faith and everything else. And it, like, that alone was pivotal for me to understand that what was going on 2,000 years ago and what's going on right now it's the same human experience.
Not all that
we're all just trying to figure it out, and we have the same. We're second guessing ourselves all the time. The idea that there is a higher power that has goal for us is a real struggle for me.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
Big time. Okay. Now we're gonna
get into it. Put those floaties on.
I am okay with the idea that there's a higher power. It's sort of like you were saying, like it's out there, that maybe something bigger is there, and we're all trying to understand what it means. I'm just not sure that the creator of the universe is all that interested in one little ant on the ant hill trying to bring one little tiny cube of sugar up into the ant hill. Okay. So that's the thing that I always struggled with, because I love thinking about these massive, like big picture things.
Yeah.
And when you look at the big picture, it's hard to imagine how we're relevant.
Yeah. Why does he care?
Yeah. I mean,
yeah. Yeah. And I have also had the same struggle with both the Catholic God, but also like what I said earlier, I do believe that there is some sort of power, but not necessarily higher. Like, I don't believe that it is a deity that we should be worshiping. I don't think that like the idea of it being a higher power implies that there's a caste system here that I don't.
So what is that power to you?
Okay, here we go. Can we get into the hippie?
Yeah, I mean, I just gave you like a bunch of rambling BS about Catholicism and how bad I am at it. So
here are some things that I know. We're all made up of atoms, and the way that atoms talk to each other, the language of atoms, is through the exchange and sharing of electrons. And electrons are just energy. Mm-hmm. So the idea that people can pick up on energy in the world, I 100% believe in, because that's probably what's happening. Like, energy, quote unquote, vibes, like the hippie stuff like that at the base level, I feel like I do agree with. I think there's science that backs that up. Like, that makes sense to me.
So that's more accessible to you than creator of the universe.
Yeah, than a personified power. I feel like the power, like, I think personifying the power that I think every human feels at some level, and that's why there's such a global pervasion. Pervasion? Is that the word?
I prefer the word perversion.
Yeah, I almost said that, but I knew that one was wrong. Like, there's a bajillion religions. Every major culture has had one. Like, I feel like there's a reason for that. I think there are a couple of reasons for that.
Yeah, I was going to say.
But I feel like one of the reasons
we could talk about that for a while
is that we all can kind of feel like, okay, there's probably something bigger than our tiny, dumb human brains at work here. But where I am like, probably not, is where that energy or power is given a personality that is very human.
Right.
That feels very egotistical to me.
Okay.
Like, why would it be a human type, emotional, loving, powerful, like, it cares about us? Why would it care about us? Do you care about all of the millions, bajillions of bacteria that live on your body? Do you know each one by name? Do you care about their lives? No, you don't.
No, I want them all gone.
Care. Well, they help you. They keep you alive.
I know.
Okay.
It's all about gut health, Rebecca.
Oh my God, please don't.
Yeah, I think yeah.
That's kind of where I'm at currently in my life, and it will probably change.
But I do like that, because I absolutely, I wouldn't say I'm completely off that kind of mentality. I would say that I have a little bit of, I mean, I've got a lot more years. And I haven't really figured it out. But I do think that I always fall back on this from the Christian philosophy, that this understanding that humans are made in the image and likeness of God. And I think that that's a a concept worthy of intense thought. What does it mean to be made in the image and likeness of the creator? And so whether you believe in the personified force that like is a single entity,
Yeah.
I think that there's an interesting, even if it's just us humans making that up, an understanding that we were created to create is a pretty cool philosophical idea.
Okay.
And I don't think it's unique to Christianity in that sense, like that the sense of
Yeah.
like
Agreed.
being made in the image and likeness of a higher being. But I think it's valuable, and I brings me to the idea that as human beings across millennia, somebody has an opinion
I
over
think
there.
that was Cass.
We do have cats here, by the way, so you may every once in a while hear.
There are 5 in this building right now. That's so many cats.
It's so many cats. It's a good thing there's no smell-o-vision going on right now.
It doesn't smell that bad.
Oh, okay. Anyway, the fact that so many of us, regardless of our cultural backgrounds, our religious backgrounds, or anything like that, that there are so many consistencies in the origin stories, and like religions have so much consistency that it tells me something about the human experience. Either we're programmed because we are created by somebody, or our experiences and our little mammalian brains react to those experiences the same way, and so we create the same types of stories over and over and over again.
Yeah.
I accept that both are possible, but the creative spirit and the evolution of human society and how rapidly it develops when religion becomes a part of it is really interesting to me.
Well, there's also the idea that once a culture has reached the point where it can start developing a religion, it's gotten to the point where it can sustain itself in the more survival aspects.
It's a chicken or egg thing,
yeah,
right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Is religion the cause or the effect?
But I think it's so interesting that even though the two of us have different upbringings and different current beliefs, we kind of are landing on a lot of the same basic ideas that we believe in. Like at the end of the discussion, it's kind of the same. Because I agree that it's very interesting that religions generally across the world have the same core stuff going on. And you could say, like you said, like it could be because it's the same God all over the place being perceived in different ways. Or it could be that humans are weak and self-involved and like coming up with
we have the same need.
A big dad in the sky
we have the same need for a crutch.
Is just like us, but knows more than we do and loves us so much,
So it's interesting because I had this. So a few years back, I used to hang out with a bunch of guys, and we would drink bourbon and scotch, and we called it the BNS Society, right?
The what?
The BNS Society,
which stands for
as bourbon and scotch.
It's so creative, so creative.
But it also a little bit sounds like the bullshit society, like BS Society.
That's funny.
So there was a little bit of that too.
Okay.
But I was drinking some bourbon and some scotch in a guy's basement, and I got into one of these deep philosophical conversations that was really not as deep or philosophical as I thought it was.
Well, the bourbon helps.
Yeah,
with that.
But it's also typical of me, shallow end. And I was very convinced that I had invented this philosophy.
Oh, okay. Do share.
And I basically just said, hey, I have learned that this way of living, being Catholic, is something that I'm never going to convince myself rationally is true. The faith, I'm never going to be able to convince myself rationally that it's true.
Wow.
That's what an active faith is. And so what I have decided is that I might as well, I know I'm a better person when I follow these rules.
Oh, okay.
And if I'm wrong in the end, I'm just worm food. But if I'm right, then great.
Great.
I did my best. And, the God's going to say, okay, I mean, you kind of limped your way in, but good job. And I was telling that to a guy who's way smarter than me. He's one of the smartest people I've ever met. And he said, oh, you just described Pascal's wager. And I was like, what?
What?
I don't know what that is. He's like, oh, you don't know Pascal's wager?
Like it's, commonplace. Oh, you don't
Well,
know?
it is, by the way.
Is it? Maybe
For those of us who don't just swim in this shallow
we're
end.
just stupid.
So I do have this quote. I'm going to read this quote.
Oh,
This
good.
is Pascal's wager, and it's I think it's a brilliant summary of why you choose to believe in anything,
Okay.
especially God. Let us weigh the gain and the loss in wagering that God is. Let us estimate these two chances. If you gain all. If you lose nothing. Wager then, without hesitation, that he is.
Wow.
So it's the idea that just believe, because why not?
Like, what do you have to lose?
And
Nothing.
I mean, there's a lot of reasons why you could lose if you just get sucked into a cult that says just believe because there's no downside. But in the general philosophical sense, when people are really struggling with the act of faith, I do think that that's you as a personal exercise. I think that's useful. And
yeah. And okay.
But I also got I thought I was so smart. And this bastard stole it from me because this dude named Pascal, who I don't know, he's like,
is he the one with the triangle?
I don't know. He's maybe marginally successful back in the 17th century.
So I think he might be the one with the triangle.
I think he did a few things.
Okay, probably.
Yeah.
For him to be quoted still, he's probably pretty important.
Yeah, but I mean,
but
we're recording this podcast. We're going to be quoted forever.
Forever. And you know what we're not going to do?
What?
Look it up.
That's a good point. That's right.
But I think that's
it's the shallow one.
Yes, I think that's very interesting because, again, I have kind of the same opinion, but opposite, I guess. Not opposite, but if I'm right that I shouldn't really be caring that much about organized religion, then great, I just die. If I'm wrong, and the God that people keep telling me about really exists, he's gonna, or she, or they, maybe God isn't gendered, who can say, they're gonna look at my life, a life of me trying my best to be as good of a person as I can possibly be, and if they decide, but you didn't believe in me, so you're going to hell, I didn't want to believe in you anyway. I didn't want to follow you anyway. If you really are the God that everybody's saying that you are, you'll look at me.
Be sexier.
Acting out all of your teachings just without the groveling. And you'll be like, yeah, you're a good person. Go ahead. Come on in. Let's party. Okay. So I also feel like at the core, it's just be a good fucking person and you're good. Why are we caring so much about these tiny minutia? I just feel like it's a lot of noise that a lot of the time distracts and misleads people from the actual message.
Yeah. What is the actual message?
I just said it. It's the Golden Rule.
The Golden Rule.
Oh, you never watched VeggieTales. It's a VeggieTales reference.
I only ever listened to VeggieTales.
Yeah, you listened to VeggieTales. Yeah, it's a VeggieTales episode. He says the golden
They didn't
rule.
invent the golden rule. You know that,
I know,
right?
but it's an episode about the golden ruler, and it's a
Oh,
ruler, and it's
no.
golden, and it's been stolen. And so he says the golden ruler has been stolen. Anyway, Mom would get it. But
Okay.
yeah,
All right.
do unto others
Do unto others
as
as you would have them do unto
do unto
you. It sounds like Jesus.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying, is it's the same idea over and over and over and over across many cultures.
Until it gets bastardized and
Until it
then
gets
misinterpreted, and we have the Inquisition.
Yes. And yeah, yes.
Or Intifada, and like there's
Or what?
plenty
What
of
is that?
there's plenty of expressions of religion that go off the rails, right?
Yes. Well, and that's when religion, I think, becomes less religion and more politics. I mean, we all know that those are a bad mix.
Is it politics or is it just cult?
No, I mean, like, when the people in power are gaining more power by twisting religion into their
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
benefit.
It's not religion anymore, and it's not really politics. Politics is like
Oh, okay. I see what you're
talking
saying.
to the citizenry to advance your power over someone else's, but it's still like democratic to me. Politics goes out the window when it's dictatorship and cult style.
Yeah. I guess
Let's not get into politics
have to.
because that's a different podcast.
I just feel like
This one's about religion.
it's interesting, and this is probably a generational thing, that like when I say religion or when I say politics, what it is currently is what pops into my head. But to you, what it is at its core is what you're thinking.
Yeah.
So when I hear politics, I like immediately get angry. Like I'm mad already.
Oh, me too.
Just talking about it.
Oh, me too.
Oh, you too. Okay.
But again, let's not steal future content from.
But yeah, I think it's hard to take away all of the extra shittiness that humans have added onto all of these things and just strip it all away and look at the core of something and decide whether you agree with it or not.
Right.
Because
so
that does still have real life implications. Like, okay, if I say that I'm Catholic, even if I'm acting out Catholicism in a different way than most people would think, like, I feel like when people hear Catholicism, they think like, oh, whoa, you guys are intense and you guys are a little bit culty and you chant in Latin to candlelight with incense and hoods. And it's
hoods.
I know. I added that one in. It's a little freebie at the end.
That's where, by the way, note that I only called you out when you said hoods. The rest of it
was accurate. It's true. That is.
It's like, yeah, I love the Easter Vigil also. And then you said hoods, and I was like, no.
Now you lost me.
Yeah, it can be standoffish. So I'm a convert to Catholicism.
Mm-hmm.
I still don't feel. I still have like imposter syndrome every time I walk into a Catholic church. Like, am I?
You have imposter syndrome when you walk into a Catholic church?
Genuflecting properly?
Oh, I think like, that too, though.
I just worry that everyone's judging me all the time. But that's on me. That's not the.
Okay, I don't know about that though. I don't think it's fully on you.
There may be some people who.
I don't think that it's the other people in the church. I don't think it's their fault. But I do think that it's because there is like this. I don't know how I want to phrase this, but like, I don't think you thinking that other Catholics will judge you for doing something wrong is completely out of left field. I think that you have.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. But and there are certainly good reasons for some people of the faith to judge me
Or to be judged.
Yeah.
Who said that?
I'm not.
Not me.
I'm not here to say that.
I didn't say that.
I said that I'm Catholic light.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm Catholic light because I feel that I have a perspective that where I do have some concerns about things that the church generally teaches that I don't think are right. I don't think
Wow.
they're the right way to present
And
Christ's teaching
okay, so
about.
this was going to be my question. So, do you believe that that is like a failure of the human interpretation of the faith, or do you
Yes.
think it's a failure of the faith itself?
No, I think it's a failure of the human interpretation of the faith. I think
Okay.
that there's plenty of human failure along the chain.
Yeah.
Now, I don't think that justifies throwing that chain away.
Yeah.
I think that there's enough value and that the value that is there is critical, but some of the stuff is really damaging, and especially in the current culture. So,
Yeah.
like church teaching on homosexuality, I have a big problem with it.
Yeah. I think it's interesting that you and mom had
We've
some children that have challenged a lot of these things.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I think that my personal version of that, I don't think I've ever been fully on board with.
Gays are going to hell.
It's not that. It's more like, again. So I'm going to start by saying that what the Catholic Church teaches about a lot of things is a lot different than what is said about what the church believes. So when the church talks about homosexuality, they teach that homosexual acts
Okay.
are intrinsically disordered and therefore sinful.
Okay, that's interesting that you bring this up because when I was going through the process of getting confirmed in the church, our priest didn't come to our house, but we did go through like a class.
Yep.
And one of the sessions of the class was we all gathered in the church basement, and Father Jim, our priest, was there.
Oh.
And we submitted anonymous questions, and it was like an hour and a half long of him just pulling questions out and answering them. And I remember I was 13, and I always knew, like from a young age, that I liked boys and I liked girls, but I knew, like, I thought that was how everybody was, because I was never confronted with the idea that some people think that I'm an abomination for that. And so when I was 13, I was just getting into like public school. I was just getting into like the internet was kind of becoming available to me, and I was realizing that what I thought was normal isn't everybody's normal. And I didn't submit this question, but somebody else did. And it was the question like, my parents tell me that gay people are wrong and they're going to hell. But it wasn't like, I think I'm gay, but it was like, what do you like? That's tough for me to swallow. Like, what is the official church teaching on this, or something like that? And I remember this still now, which is rare because I don't remember a lot of things at age 13.
Right.
But Father Jim said, gay people, just by being gay, aren't going to hell. But if they live with another person as their partner, that's wrong. If they have sex with the same sex, that's wrong because it can never lead to a baby. So it's like a sin because that's not what sex was created for. And he said like all of these things were very middling, but it's still, I was still unsatisfied with the answer. Like it still felt like, hate the sin, love the sinner. Well, you're still calling it a sin though,
right?
So it's always been tough for me.
No, and it's tough. It is tough, and I think it's tough because culture evolves culture evolves on sexuality and sexual practices and sexual norms, like across the whole arc of human history, and we're learning more and more and more about how that changes. Like I said, I subscribe to Archaeology magazine, so I get these like interesting stories about ancient cultures and the iconography and stuff like that, and what they're trying to understand about these different cultures. And I think that we are poorly served by certain translations and interpretations of scripture
Mm.
that have informed us of a position on same-sex relationships um, that are uh, equal, loving relationships that I don't think Jesus would have any problem with.
Yeah.
And I think that a lot of what we have misinterpreted as sinful things are abuses of power
Oh, yeah.
and a condemnation of what was a very typical relationship back in Jesus's day and scriptural, like when the Gospels were being written, and then even prior to that, when the Jewish scriptures were being written, like the abuse of young people for pleasure was what was being called out, and that's different than. And I don't claim that there were that there was a large population of people with, you know, like homosexual people that were abused back then. I don't know. I don't know. I think that there's a. I don't believe that homosexuality is a choice or a learned thing. I think there's definitely your brain is telling you who you're attracted to.
Yeah.
And to have somebody come in with a message from God saying that that's wrong seems really wild to me.
Very
like
strange.
You're a person too, and you're saying that seems whack.
Yeah. And there's never been any actual like real reason that anybody can come up with other than it's an abomination and the Bible says it's wrong. It's like, okay, but why? Like,
Yeah.
don't murder. I understand that one. That one makes sense.
Like, don't take
You know,
someone's life.
Don't steal. That makes sense. It's not yours. Give it back. But like, it's just love. I don't understand how that can be
right.
so horrible.
And I think that and the argument that, you know, we've as humans we've evolved the message into adapted the message into, well, the whole point of love and marriage is to make babies because we want to perpetuate the species.
Survive.
I mean, that's a very that is very consistent with evolutionary
It's
theory.
like the basis of
yes,
every
we have that
animal
drive.
brain.
Right. We've got that animal brain drive. That makes sense. And it makes sense if you believe in a higher power that whole drive is ordered by that higher power. But we also see a lot of divergent sexual behaviors in a lot of animals, and like you can't, like, there are, I don't even want, divergent sounds really horrible in that context, but there's a lot of behaviors that don't follow that instinct to reproduce in the animal kingdom as well. And there's a reason reproduction feels good in humans.
It's to encourage it, yes. But also, even like we make note of animals that start caring about things outside of just reproducing as a marker for higher intelligence.
Right.
Like when they start caring about members of their family or pack or whatever that are dying or sick or, you know, who aren't going to be able to reproduce, but they still care for them, we are like, wow, that's amazing. Like they're more intelligent. Like we're going to start studying this. Like,
yeah,
it's a marker of a more evolved culture.
Yeah, it piques our curiosity, and we know that means something.
It's not a monoculture. Like there's ability for diversification and different expressions of life. And I think that's, you know, Beautiful.
Yeah.
And science. It's science.
And I'm probably doing too deep a dive and gonna bonk my
We're
head.
gonna bonk our nogs.
I'm gonna bonk my head at the bottom of the pool by bringing up things like church teaching on sexual behavior. Certainly, I don't have any kind of education in that other than the things that I personally like. Whatever, I'm not experienced in it, but I do have a belief, and I believe that, as you were saying, like when you can see loving relationships, it's really hard to put a judgment on that.
Yeah.
It's a testimony to, I believe that love comes from somewhere. And I'm going to go back to that being made in the image and likeness of God, that you only catch love between two human beings if you are connected to that kind of creative force, that initial creator force. So it's a little bit meta, but whatever.
See, this is why I love having these conversations when we have two different like base opinions or identities, because we always end up realizing that pretty much everything that we're saying on both sides is kind of the same thing, just interpreted through these different lenses.
Right. Yeah.
Which I think is just really cool. It like makes me feel like especially in 2024 at the beginning of an election year, it feels like we all hate each other so much.
I hate you.
I hate you so much. No, but seriously, it's nice to like have these moments where you can sit down.
Hey, we voted for the same person in the primary. Wait, we're talking politics now. Stop it.
No, stop. Shut it down. Too deep. Yeah. Anyway, it just makes me feel hopeful for the future.
I like that. I like feeling hopeful.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like we could talk forever about religion in general, because I love talking about different human experiences and expressions of crazy philosophies about these kinds of things. But I really think in the end, it's aliens.
Oh. We did this whole episode, and in the end, it was aliens the whole time.
Not really. I just wanted to bring that up.
This episode is aliens.
Maybe in the future we can talk about how religion and aliens are related.
We can do a live watch of that one aliens show.
Which one?
What was it called? No. The one with the weird guy that gets really excited.
Oh, the guy with the big hair?
Yes.
Yeah.
What is that called?
Ancient Aliens.
Ancient Aliens, yes. We could do a live watch of one of those.
But what if the temple was really a battery?
Whoa!
Fueling a beacon to the stars.
Look at this painting in an ancient Egyptian pyramid. This guy's holding a cell phone.
No, it was just a Star Trek communicator.
Oh,
Beam me up.
Bad. Oh, do you have anything else you'd like to hit on before we wrap it up over here?
Well, I don't know. I mean, the last note on my sheet was aliens ? So I think we covered that one.
We got it.
No, actually, there was a full next whole point that we needed to cover.
Oh, what is?
Are you ready?
I'm scared now.
Yeah. No. We're gonna in the next hour. No.
No, God, please.
We would like to summarize the human experience and answer the unanswerable.
You mean we, the two of us?
Yeah, we're going to do that. Because it's right the now? Shallow end.
Right now, okay.
Okay, I want to just go back to the beginning. What do you think?
In the beginning, there was God.
What do you think about the term shallow friends?
Oh, I think it's cute.
You think that works?
A little cringy. But
of course it is.
For the youth. It's a little cringy, but I think it fits. I think we are cringy.
We are.
This
for
whole thing is pretty cringy. And when I say it out loud, it makes me giggle. So I like it.
Hello, shallow friends.
Shallow friends. And you have to pronounce it with the Z. The Z is integral.
Friends. Yeah. It's gotta
It's
be
important. Really hit that Z.
influenced. All right. Well, we're gonna wrap up, but what are we looking forward to with our next episode?
Ooh, you guys are in for a treat. We're gonna have our first guest.
We are gonna have our first guest.
And she is just a pleasure. She is my favorite person on
I'm
the
looking
planet.
forward to meeting her, actually.
She's my favorite person on the planet. I love her to death. She's my little sister. She's my bestest friend in the world.
She's our super fan, Maggie.
Our super fan and friend.
And friend.
Maggie. And one of the things that we love most about her is that she has so many thoughts on so many things.
Oh my gosh. It might be a 3-hour episode, friends.
It very well could be. I forget do we know what topic we're doing?
So there was a very specific topic, but I think I would like to broaden it a little bit.
Okay.
And the topic is because religion is a pretty heavy thing to start with. We're gonna do the topic of pets. So our pet friends, and we have at least 2 of them in the room with us right now, both of them neurotic as hell.
Yeah.
But Maggie is a perfect person to talk to about pets. Pet names, pet
she helped me
quirks, pet everything.
Yeah, she helped me name my boys when I got them.
Yeah.
Well, she gave Blue Jay his name.
Mm-hmm.
I came up with Basil.
Yeah. Don't.
Okay, no spoilers.
Spoil it.
Little teasers,
there's
but
lots
no spoilers.
of things to talk about.
She's
got, and I mean, even the whole concept of what a pet is might be.
I'm sure she has thoughts on that.
So, anyway, it's past time to be done.
I'm seepy.
You're seepy?
Yeah, talk myself out. But we'd like to give another huge shout out to all the people that have listened, have texted us and messaged us about how much they love it and how much they believe that we're going to be a global sensation and we're going to do tours. We're going to open for Taylor Swift.
I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty happy that we're already in negotiations with our first sponsor in like the first 2 weeks.
It's pretty cool. Good. It's pretty good. Yeah. So follow along for more. Definitely more bangers coming, and we hope you will be our friends.
Our friends forever.
Forever.
Thanks for listening to The Shallow End.
Love you. Bye.
Bye.